Welcome to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. We believe life is about how we react. Hey, welcome to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. We trust that you are enjoying Season 5 as much as we are. One of the coolest things, in my opinion, that we are doing this season begins next week with episode 143. We have decided to dig into the drug development process, and we have some incredible guests that will be joining us to talk about the different stages of that process, right? We have some folks on the patient side, the organizational side. We've even got some executives from the pharma industry side. So several episodes to look forward to there, starting next week with episode 143. Don't miss it. For today, we've got a great interview with an international guest. You know, rare disease and community is not limited to what's just immediately around us or even in the U.S., right? And it's wonderful to be able to get an international perspective. So meet Manish.
My name is Manish and I'm from Mumbai, India. I'm 28 years old and I'm doing my PhD in bioprocess technology in Mumbai. A big round of applause to both of you for starting this podcast, and it is going really well. I've been following it for a long time. So thank you so much.
Manish, before we get into your top 5 list, I'm curious how you found us. How did you hear about the Two Disabled Dudes podcast?
Through my Dotting Beans Instagram page. I've been always looking for some social media pages which works on raising awareness on kidney disease, rare disease, organ donation, like that. So it was just a random search on Instagram.
All right.
And I'm really glad that I found both of you.
It's wonderful to be a part of a worldwide network of advocates. You know, we all have the same goal, even though our diseases are different, and it's wonderful to work together to that one goal. Yeah, Kyle has the beard strength, and you have the PhD strength. So I'm happy to be connected to both of you.
And I'm happy to connect it to such energetic souls like both of you.
Manish, talking about listening to the podcast and following along, you know we've been sharing a top 5 list every episode this season, and we've asked you to share unique spots or your favorite spots in India. So how do you label this list?
This top 5 list is like a recommendation list for the people who want to visit India and experience Indian culture and Indian locations. One will be Taj Mahal, of course, from Agra. It is one of the wonders of the world that everyone should visit. Second is the state of Rajasthan, and it has a few beautiful cities like Jodhpur, Udaipur, Jaipur, and so they are called as a pink city, blue city, and there are wonderful palaces. There is a Thar desert, which everyone should visit, and the third one will be Kerala. So Kerala has a wonderful like a sea line. They have a backwaters, a natural beauty. The fourth on my list will be Sundarban, which is mangrove forest near West Bengal, and that mangrove forest is famous for the Royal Bengal tiger, which I think if someone is interested in wildlife, they should go and visit there. And the fifth one is the holy or sacred place for Indians, which is Varanasi and Rishikesh. So Varanasi, Haridwar is one of the most pious places considered in India, and they are along the banks of river Ganga. And there are a lot of temples over there. and it is indeed a wonderful feeling to be there. And the Rishikesh, which is known as a yoga and meditation center in India. So I think these will be my top five location based list.
Sean was writing down these as you were saying them, and I think we're gonna have to run these by you because Sean wasn't sure how to spell these.
Manish, tell our listeners a little bit of your story.
My story comes with about battling the chronic and rare kidney disease, which got diagnosed just at the start of my PhD. It was in the year 2016 when the diagnosis was confirmed for the chronic and rare kidney disease. There is a slight story in my childhood also, where I had some kidney issue. Like there was a blood passing through the urine, and we used to do a lot of medical checkups and investigations. It got resolved, but it again cropped back when I was like around 20 to 23 years or something. And it just started with something very trivial, like a leg pain or something. And I did my routine medical test, and, and there was like issues, and issues everywhere. So we did a kidney biopsy in Mumbai, and from that we got confirmed about the rare condition, which is focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, which is FSGS in short form, like FSGS. So what basically this condition is that the parts of the tiny parts of your kidney start getting affected, and they start getting dead over a period of time. So the ultimate thing is the kidney failure, but we cannot predict when the kidney failure will happen. It can happen in just few months to many years, anytime. So it is not predictable. So my doctor, he started with immunosuppressants, steroids, which actually the medicines which I had never imagined that I would take in my life, and it caused all sort of adverse effects. It may be some breathing issues. It may be significant weight gain, puffy face, and all. And this thing went on for next 3 years or so. That all the treatment schedules and everything, and nothing worked. There was absolutely nothing working with and treating my condition. So my doctor suggested that I should do a genetic test maybe and see what we can get to know more about my diagnosis. And from the diagnosis, there was another diagnosis which came through the genetic test report, which was Alport syndrome. And I have listened to one of your episodes with Kevin about Alport syndrome, and that Alport syndrome again came as a big shock to me. So the diagnosis was actually getting confused. So he was like, it may be FSGS also, it may be Alport also, it may be both also. So I was considering that I have these two rare kidney diseases which I'm supposed to battle and get rid of, or maybe not let them affect me, something like that. I would just point it up. When the diagnosis of Alport happened, the kidney failure happened within just a year. And it was during the lockdown period. And I had just an ultimatum that either I have to go undergo dialysis or I will have to do a kidney transplant. And dialysis is something like you have to visit hospital thrice or 4 times in a week, and your life entirely depends upon that one dialysis machine,
Right.
which is very frustrating, and you it makes you helpless. And I had seen few people who were going through dialysis and they had so many issues due to the dialysis procedure. So luckily, my father, he agreed to donate kidney to me. He instantly agreed that let's not go to the path of dialysis, and I will donate the kidney to you, and we can do transplant. And within a span of like 3 months from that, my transplant was done. So and it was just done in December 2020. And I'm really fortunate and grateful that my father donated the kidney to me and saved my life.
So right now you're only probably not even in quite 4 months post kidney transplant. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
How are you feeling today?
I would say that my second life has just started. It is of course such a it is a healthy feeling first of all, that all the chronic pain and illness and unnecessary mental and emotional turbulences which I was going through, they have subsided to a great extent, and I'm actually feeling happiness and being in a good health, which is really boosting my morale, and I'm feeling motivated to do something really good and fruitful each and every day.
What is something that you're aiming to accomplish with this second life of yours?
This rebirth which I have got after kidney transplant, I really want it to be as fruitful and productive as possible, and most importantly, to do things which makes me happy. I'm a student who has always been inclined towards research area, like working in the research lab, doing something in the medical science or the health science, which will benefit the community. So luckily, I was working on artificial organ development. So I was working on skin and retina as the two organs. So I wanted to do something on those similar lines, but more specifically in the area of kidney, so that many people who are suffering from the condition similar to me might be benefited. So that is one agenda, I would say. And the second, which I have learned through this process, is that I should work towards generating awareness and creating support platform for kidney patients, transplant recipients, so that whatever hurdles I faced, at least I will be able to educate them prior to it, and how or help them in tackling the kidney disease in more effectively.
Manish, you mentioned our episode with Kevin Schurner. That's episode 120. He works with the Alport Syndrome Foundation. What I'm curious about, knowing that you're all the way over in Mumbai, what differences can you identify or mention that exist between the kidney disease issues in India versus kidney disease issues or care, either way, in America? What are some of the differences that maybe you and your friends like Kevin have been able to identify?
Based upon my interactions with Kevin or following some international groups on Facebook or other social media, I have got a feeling that in India, the clinical sector is not something that is lagging behind, maybe in the knowledge part or the skill part with respect to the kidney disease or dialysis or transplant or anything like that. But what most prominently is lacking in India is the awareness about the kidney diseases, rare kidney diseases, or the chronic kidney diseases. And secondly, the government support or the policy support, which is really lagging behind. Because I've been reading some post about maybe in US or UK, and they have a strong support and backing of the government policies, and there is a lot of infrastructure which goes into the rare kidney diseases or rare diseases as such. But in India, I think India has just started thinking about this part as recently in 2020. The national policy of rare diseases was just it just came out in February 2020. So that's how nascent it is. So because now we know that there are around 7,000 rare diseases, out of which there are 15 kidney rare diseases approximately. But if we see the list of rare diseases identified in India, it will be just one or two, and kidney diseases specifically. And out of the 7,000 rare diseases which are there, only 450 have been identified or reported in India. So India doesn't have any patient registry as such full formulated. So I don't think there is a network which has been established within the rare kidney disease community in India. Because when I got to know that I'm affected with FSGS or Alport syndrome, I had nobody to talk to who had FSGS or who had Alport syndrome that time, so that I could understand what they went through and what precautions they have taken. Maybe right now, after the transplant, I came into contact with one or two people But before that, I was totally ignorant about all this. So basically, I think that is the difference between international, I mean, the countries abroad and India is a lack of awareness, lack of support, and lack of government support, basically.
With respect to the awareness and just the number of diseases reported in India, what would you say is the biggest hurdle, or in the same respect, like how could we fix that issue or address that issue of, getting more of these diseases on the map, or just raising awareness for rare disease in general in India?
So the initial stepping part, I would also underline that is creating awareness or raising awareness about rare diseases, because unless and until people know that such diseases exist, nothing can help. That is the first, I think, the first step that one has to take up in India. Second is, of course, the government has to step up or take a step in allocating sufficient amount of funds for the rare diseases, because healthcare is a primary sector for any country, and the government should really look critically into allocation of budget for healthcare sector or particularly rare disease sector. And third part is which I feel is very important. Like since I came from a research perspective, I know what is the importance of collaborations. And so if we are lagging into one particular aspect, there are several other parties who are much superior than us in that particular aspect. So I think the collaborations, which it may be the international collaborations that is within India or even outside India. So it may be a collaboration between patients. It may be collaboration between support groups. It may be between we can have something like the clinical trial is going in India, and the companies from the abroad, or the CRO is from the abroad. Clinical research organization is from the abroad. So anything which exchanges knowledge and expertise between two different countries or within a country will be really helpful.
So you started this blog called Dotting Beans.
Yes, yes, yes.
So in it, you talk about your experience with Alport syndrome and kidney disease, and you educate others about that and about kidney disease in general. What is so satisfying? I know you love it. I can see it on your face. You love spreading awareness and you love telling your story. What is so satisfying about it?
The satisfying part is, I guess, there was some many people didn't knew about my story, didn't know about what I'm going through. I always used to feel choked somewhere, that everything is hidden inside me and I'm not able to emote it or express it properly. And but when I started writing, I could feel that the pain which I went through, or maybe whatever experiences that I went through, it came automatically onto paper. And as and when it came onto the paper, it was even a mentally relaxing experience from me. It was a mental therapy for me, that I'm sharing my thoughts, expressing my thoughts now, and they're not just they're not just limited to myself now. Now I was always involved into writing scientific work, but this was something very different, that I'm supposed to explain my condition, explain about kidney disease in very simple term, in very simple language, that a common man should understand. It shouldn't be something like a scientific jargon. I'm not able to understand what this guy has written. It shouldn't be like that. So that was a primary objective of starting it, that I should be able to explain it in as easy language as possible. And the second satisfying part is I have got a lot of support and love from people. And there were few people I was not connected to maybe for last 10 to 15 years or more than that, but they got instantly connected to me after this blog. And now they have become really great support system and buddies for me. And this was clearly reflected when I was in dearth of funds for my transplant. So we wanted a financial support for my transplant surgery, and there was a pouring love and support from the people during that time, that the entire amount just got fulfilled within just 3 or 4 days, which we could just collect it, and
Wow.
not without even crowdfunding or anything. It really always makes me in tears today also, that my family, my friends, teachers, and all the people I know, everyone has supported me tremendously.
I'm sure you have readers from all over the world. Where are some of the farthest places from India where you've made connections with people?
In India, I'm able to connect to people via some support groups which are already there on social media. And in the case of the international reach, it was possible because of Alport Syndrome Foundation of USA. So they have a support group where I used to share my blogs and all the stories. So that really got connected me to Kevin and his team, Joy and everyone. So that was the big supporting network or connection network. Recently, I got connected to Kidney Research UK, which is the biggest charity funding in UK, and I'm really happy to contribute to them as a research network volunteer now. And through this post, I'm responsible for reviewing the research proposals which are submitted to their charity funding, so that I could rate them and on the basis of the significance and impact on the kidney community. This is a research network no, role which I'm really happy to take up.
Manish, you've shared quite a bit of your story. You've got a lot going on. I'm curious of everything in your life right now, whether it's family, friends, your PhD, the advocacy work you're doing. What is something you're excited about right now?
I'm first of all excited right now to actually complete my graduation. That is the first stepping stone now. And the second part is I really look forward to do postdoctoral research studies, and hopefully, if the destiny takes to that part, academic position, research position. And of course, and this will the my kidney disease awareness initiative will always keep going side by side. And recently I've joined a mental health group, and I'm working towards generating awareness on mental health,
Nice.
because I myself, I have taken help of a psychiatrist during while battling with the kidney disease. So I
Yeah.
know what is the importance of that. So there
Yeah.
are quite many agenda I'm excited about. It may be creating awareness on
Good.
kidney disease. It may be importance of organ donation and even mental health.
I will, speaking of organ donation, it was after we talked with Kevin that I, submitted my information to make sure, or to help make sure, that if something were to happen to me, people knew that I was okay with being a donor. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I tie
Yes.
that directly to the Alport Syndrome Foundation and Kevin's prompting.
Yes, yes. I think that is something which we all need to take up as a social responsibility and as a moral responsibility.
Mm.
And I'm also happy that after my kidney transplant, within maybe 20-25 days, I registered for organ donation and prepared my own organ donor card. So that is, I think, one of the most satisfying experiences as a human being
Yeah.
for all of us.
Yeah, how cool is it that you know that, or Sean, you know that if something happens to you, you're gonna help the next guy that needs
Yes,
help, or the
yes,
next
yes.
woman. Yeah,
Mhm.
Absolutely. And you are alive even after you are not dead.
yeah,
Manish, we know in the disease world, whether it's rare disease or something more common, mental health is an ongoing issue. There's always something that's challenging our mindset and our emotions. Can you talk about what you're doing in India to help address mental health?
Recently, I completed a mental health ambassadorship program with Zipcare, which is an Indian startup which is dedicated towards self-development, positivity, and mental health awareness. So through this, I really got stimulated to work on mental health awareness, and I'm really looking forward to do something or raising awareness or doing something constructive in that part.
Yeah, mental health is certainly an issue that is always prevalent, right? Whether you realize it or not. So I'm glad that you've mentioned it and you're working to address it in different ways. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic conversation, Manish. Thank you very much for sharing a glimpse of your life in India, and of course, sharing about your journey with kidney disease and what you're working on to help make the world a better place around you and also across the globe with all your connections to support groups and your blog and what you're doing to just be of assistance.
Thank you so much. And I'm really fortunate and glad to be talking to both of you, whom I have followed for quite some time. And I really look forward to have some such more healthy conversations, and which will help not only people in India, but across the globe. And thank you for making me a part of your podcast. And thank you so much.
All right, that was a great conversation. I love his perspective. I love getting a perspective from a different culture and just to understand and be mindful of how things happen everywhere, because we can be in such tunnel vision, I feel like, a lot of times with just what's happening right around us, and I appreciate that perspective.
One thing I value about the conversation was Manish's energy, his zest for life, and like you even mentioned, you can feel it, sense it, see it on his face. He is so committed to making the world a better place. In fact, you can hear, or at least I could hear, the tenderness in his voice, right? He seems to be an incredibly sweet guy. And one thing that I really enjoyed about the conversation was his willingness to sort of take over the conversation at the end and express his gratitude. So what we've decided to do today is reserve our thank you notes for our guests. So today's thank yous are coming from our new friend, Manish.
I really want to express my gratitude, first of all, to my father who donated his kidney to me, to my mother and my aunts and their families, who have been always a great support and support pillar for me through these testing times, and for their love and affection. And I'm also thankful to my entire family, friends, and everyone who contributed and donated funds for my transplant surgery, and also my PhD guide, teachers, and everyone, all the lab mates who have been a great support system always. So thank you so much, and lots of love to all of you.
Thank you, Manish. That was wonderful. A reminder to everyone to share and subscribe if you like what you hear. Stay tuned for our drug development series starting next week. Until then, keep living with urgency. Thank you for listening to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. This show is possible with your support. Visit twodisableddudes.com to donate.
Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app.